1, 2, 3.
I had no idea about Texas country, and then Josh Abbott came my freshman year to Wild West, and I fell in love.
I actually started out. I started out at South Plains Junior College trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I figured that out. So I transferred to Stephen F. Austin. I was like, I'm getting the heck out of Lubbock and going to East Texas for some reason. And like half a year into it, I was like, this sucks. I want to go back to Lubbock. You know, I guess it's like that song, you know, everybody quotes it, happiness is Lubbock, Texas in my rearview mirror. And Mac Davis, by the end of that song, figures out that, man, you know, happiness was Lubbock, Texas. And so after going to Stephen F. Austin for a year, I got back as soon as I could. And I lost credit hours, and, you know, I was a little older for my classification. But then just, you know, going through the motions here at Texas Tech, it just felt right. I mean, I just loved the atmosphere here, and kind of like what he said, everybody, you know, it's just this West Texas culture just has this really friendly way about it, and I just really enjoyed my time here. I graduated from undergrad in 2005, and then I went to grad school and almost finished up, and in fact, I'm supposed to be taking a comprehensive final exam for grad school like this spring or summer, and hopefully I'll graduate with my master's in the fall. So I'm pretty excited about that. I was pretty active. I mean, I was hardcore, like loved Phi Delta, still do, still am, you know, just really good friends with dozens of, you know, our fraternity brothers over the years. And I think it's an important part of the college experience. And what I mean by that is finding a group of people to network with. I promise you we wouldn't be doing this interview right now as a band if we hadn't been in Phi Delta, because we used to go to Blue Light and play fraternity and sorority parties, and all the Greeks would come out and support us. And because of that, we caught kind of this real awesome kind of a buzz about us, really way before we deserved it. Well, we started it together just playing like chapter churches and Greek-wide stuff, and then that kind of transformed into open mic nights at Blue Light, and then started playing fraternity parties with a couple of our other fraternity brothers. And then about a year and a half into it, they decided that they didn't want to do it anymore, and we decided we were like, hey, I think this may go somewhere, man. This is, you know, more than just playing locally. We feel like we could maybe tour. You know, we were really naive, and lucky for us, it worked out. Lubbock has a great local music scene. You know, lots of bands have started here, and especially talk about going here to how did that influence you. Well, you know, when we were college kids here, you know, I would go when Pat Green came to town. You know, he was a Texas Tech alumni. It was a really cool deal to watch him. And in fact, our fraternity brought him in for one of our calf fries. And then Wade Bowen, he was in another fraternity. He was a few years older than us, but I would go watch him play at Blue Light. And so, you know, that definitely shapes you, I think. And then, you know, as you start to really invest in the Lubbock music scene, you start learning about like the Flatlanders and all these other bands that came from here, and so it's just kind of cool to be a part of that. My favorite part of being at Tech was definitely the fraternity system. I mean, it was the whole experience, you know, not just the exciting things like going on road trips or tailgating, which, and of course the parties were great, but it was going to chapter on Monday nights, and, you know, it was doing philanthropy events, and, you know, it was just creating just friendships with all these guys that come from successful families and have the same standards that, you know, that we do, you know, and now a lot of those guys are out there in the business world, and they're making names for themselves, and, you know, it's just those connections. I mean, I use Phi Delts from Texas Tech for as many business operations as I can, whether it's investing money or getting insurance. I was probably a senior in college, and I just decided to write a song, kind of a sexual love song, and something that kind of hinted to stuff that was a little more racy than perhaps anyone had heard on the country radio before. And so after we recorded it, I remember people being like, oh my gosh, like, dude, you can't let people hear that, or you can't.
In the studio, I was like,
yeah,
people are either gonna like this or be like, whoa.
People
hearing it on the radio and thinking,
yeah, you know, people were like, dude, you can't put that to radio. And the funny thing is we didn't really at first. Like, Lubbock radio started playing it, and so we just kind of rolled with it, and it was awesome.
Our drummer didn't even know what it was about till his dad told him.
Yeah. Yeah, our original drummer. He was our fraternity brother, Drew, and hopefully he's watching and he's laughing right now. But yeah, he was. Like 3 months after we recorded it, he finally walked in. He's like, "Hey, did you really mean to when you say it like that? Did you really mean the whole come to your senses kind of thing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Man, my grandma listens to that song." Even though I was Phi Delta and she was Pi Phi, our age difference. I graduated when she came to pledge, so I was kind of a cradle robber. But my going into my second year of grad school. She was a sophomore.
Yeah, but we met before that.
Yeah, well, she helped with Relay for Life, and they booked me in Austin to come play it, and so that's when I met you. But that's just when we met.
I knew.
No, but then we went to. I taught summer school because I was a TA in grad school, so I taught communication studies and speech, and she was one of my students, and so I don't know.
Dressed up for class every day.
Yeah.
It's true.
But I just remember the day she walked in. I was actually dating someone else at the time, and I don't know, I just remember being like, just blown away by how pretty she was and her personality, and so I just knew I wanted to get to know her more, and so over the course of that class and semester, we just kind of, it was just a friendly kind of thing, but I knew there was something there, and so right as the semester ended, I broke up with my girlfriend, and we started dating. Lubbock's home for me. I mean, I'm from Idalou, and went, Tech, and we want to get here as much as we can, so we try to play here 2 or 3 times a year, and then we also would try to sneak in like a surprise acoustic show at like Blue Light or something, just on a random Tuesday night when no one knows we're in town, because it's not about like having people come and be like, "Oh, Josh Abbott," like we just want to play for people who come out to the bars that night. I love flying in or driving in, and I like seeing the cotton fields, and I like seeing nothing, just the flatlands out there, and I mean, Lubbock will always be a huge part of my life, and Texas Tech especially. I mean, as time goes on, I would hope that we're successful enough that people would, be proud that I'm from the area and that I went to Texas Tech. People will be like, man, put me right up there in the, I don't want to be too crazy here, but people worship Buddy Holly and then Waylon Jennings, and it would just be awesome one day if people thought the same way of our band, because we started here in Lubbock. We're always excited to play here. It's just, there's just something about taking that stage to a packed house full of Red Raiders, and the minute you walk out there, they know that you're Red Raider, me and Austin, and you see 1,000 kids throw their guns up, and you're just like, it feels so good. It feels like when we first started out 4 or 5 years ago, and it was all our friends and
exactly like when we first started out.
All the fraternity and sorority kids were out there, and
oh yeah,
we really weren't worth watching at the time. I mean, we had 10 songs, and we were pretty sloppy, but, they just supported us anyway. And now that we're back in town, one of the girls here at Pi Phi brought us Spanky's cheese sticks. Oh, man. I totally missed that. That, like Kegel steaks, Chimmy's margaritas, Blue Light shots. There are certain things about Lubbock you miss. Home cafe lunch. These are right up there on our list of favorite things. So, anyway, all you Red Raiders that happen to be watching, thanks for the support. It really does mean a lot. You're a huge part of the reason that we're successful, and we hope to see you at shows and come and talk to us. Wreck 'em.